Hello, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about how you can know the difference between a good attorney and a bad one. It's not as hard as it may seem, but these are going to really give you a great way of knowing when you're out there looking for an attorney, which, sometimes it's for positive reasons and sometimes it's not for negative reasons or not so great reasons. So before we do that though, happy Monday. It's a new, exciting, awesome week. Looking forward to all this new stuff. Next week, I get to go to jury duty, as I've mentioned before, so there will not be a live on the 27th because I will be at jury duty. Yep, and I don't think I'll get excused that early. I won't. Anyway, so if you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help you create the business of your dreams. So welcome. I'm happy to have you here. We go live Monday through Friday, except for holidays, and in this case, jury duty next Tuesday. But normally we are live at 11 o'clock. So please stop in and answer questions. I'm actually thinking about adding another streaming location. It's kind of addicting, actually. It's Twitch. I know, it's crazy. Twitch is like mainly for gamers and stuff like that. Not sure I'll do that, but I saw some people, talking about true crime and lots of different options out there. So I think I might do that. I'm not positive, haven't decided yet. Anyway, we go live at 11 right now, literally like a minute ago. We hang out for about 10 minutes beforehand just to give you time to get here. And so I'm excited to get started, and let's do this. All right, awesome. So the number one thing that you're going to want, so I actually did this in an order that I want to do it different because I want to end with a different note. The number one thing you want to start with, and then we're going to go in descending order, I guess, is, are they a great listener? I know this is going to be funny. I know you're like, what? So depending on the scenario, like for instance, if I'm giving a consultation where it's a sit down and we talk about lots of details, then I may do a little more talking, but I'm going to ask a lot of questions. And a good attorney asks a lot of questions before they give you an answer. If they give you an answer without asking a lot of questions, then they're assuming a lot. And not only are they assuming a lot, but they're also giving you perhaps bad advice. So asking more questions, and their answers might not be that long. Okay, they might be shorter answers because they've already kind of like gone through it in their heads, their minds, they're thinking of what the answer is going to be. And so they're not going to need to give you a long answer because they've narrowed it down to the most correct answer or most likely correct answer. So they're going to be a great listener. You want an attorney that's willing to sit and listen to you. Now, that being said, I know a lot of attorneys, myself included, only schedule phone calls with clients. We don't take unscheduled phone calls. And the reason for that is because we're busy doing lots of things. And so if we constantly get interrupted, then we can't devote the time that we need in order to fix or finish the matter that you're talking about. So by doing that, we can give you our undivided attention, as opposed to, imagine if you're sitting in front of us or if you're on the phone with us and we're constantly being interrupted, how rude that is with other people. So we try to devote as much time specific to your matter as necessary to have a successful outcome. So part of that, though, is that it's going to be about being a great listener. I only take scheduled appointments for that reason, not because I don't want to talk to you, but because I want to give you my undivided attention. And you are, at that moment, the most important person that I can be with at that moment or be talking to. And so I don't want to be interrupted. And so I don't take unscheduled appointments, unscheduled phone calls, so that I can make sure that I'm giving the attention that you deserve as my client. The next thing is, are they objective? Okay. And this is hard for some people. It's actually rather easy for me. this is something that I'm good at, is that I'm able to see both sides of the argument, both sides of the case. And so when I'm talking to you about your matter or your case, whatever it may be, I'm going to be, giving you the opposing counsel's view on things because I've seen it and or seen cases that are similar to this or the opposing arguments. And so it's not going to be the simple answer of you have the best case in the whole wide world and that type of thing. So you want them to be objective. You want them to be able to look at it honestly and professionally. If they're too emotional about something, there's difference between passion and emotion. Emotion hurts your progress. Passion for finding the outcome, the successful outcome that you want, is important. Okay, so the difference between passion and emotion. You want someone who isn't necessarily emotionless, but someone who is objective, someone that's going to make choices that are right for you based on what's right or what's best for your case, not necessarily what's emotionally right. Now, this happens a lot more when we're talking about family matters that are inherently more emotional than civil matters that I work with, breaches of contract and stuff like that. Those are more, those are easier to be objective about. In family matters, the client typically always gets emotional about what they're feeling regarding their case. And so it can be hard for the client to step back from their emotional attachment to the case or a personal injury where they're in pain. Absolutely. I completely understand that emotion, but sometimes emotion gets in the way of getting a successful outcome. You come to an attorney not just for the professional work, but for also the objective opportunity that they can view things to solve a problem objectively and get a result successfully for that reason, as opposed to emotion that can be expensive. The more emotional you tend to be about a matter when it comes to like attachment to an outcome, the harder it is to get that great outcome. So that's number 2. Number 3 is, are they honest about their upfront fees? I know, that's crazy. Okay. So there's 3 main ways that fees affect your outcome. Okay. One is personal injury. Typically does contingency fee based. So you don't pay anything unless they recover. The bad news is that a lot of these don't take cases unless they are going to recover, right? And so you might have to go through a few attorneys that it might not be the best for you, but it needs to be in writing. You need to know what you're going to pay essentially before your case so that you know what you're getting yourself into. Depending on the state, depending on the fee agreement, it can range anywhere between 10 and 35 up to 40%, I think, is the maximum, depending on your state. Again, this is state specific, but you're going to want to know ahead of time what you're going to pay before you even sign an engagement agreement. Then there's what's called hourly. Okay, this is the most common, what you see on TV type fee agreement that you think is how it is all the time. Hourly is going to be tied to how much time and energy they spend on your work. Now, the problem with that is that it's not really a great way to measure efficiency. And a lot of TV shows especially are notorious for saying, oh, I spent 3,500 billable hours or something like that. And the problem is that doesn't mean it was actually productive. They could have wasted time. They could have been padding their bill. I'm not a huge fan of the billable hour for that reason, because it's not as good of a service to the client. It's better for the attorney. And I totally get it from an attorney's perspective. And sometimes some clients like to waste an attorney's time, and it's sad, and they'll spend extra time unnecessarily. We're not talking about reasonable amounts for you to feel good about what you're doing. We're talking about time that could have been spent elsewhere that was better used. Whenever you're wasting time for the sake of wasting time, that's when it's frustrating. So that's the second way, is the billable hour. Now, interestingly enough, the billable hour hasn't been around for that long. It's been around since, I want to say, the 60s, 70s. So it's rather new, actually. It used to be, and this is it's less common now, but I think it's making a comeback. It's the flat rate, where they charge you just a base price for what they do, and they don't base it on the hour that they're going to spend doing it. Okay, so they could solve your problem in an hour. They could solve your problem in 5 hours. You're going to pay the same. I'm a bigger fan of that flat rate for that reason, because I can, it's, if it takes me 5 hours to solve a matter that I thought would only take me an hour or two or whatever it is that I thought about, that's on me. As the professional, that should be where I eat the difference. Now, the client shouldn't abuse that, but you should know that for me, it's more important that my clients are happy than it is about the time that I spent on the matter that I'm doing. So I only do flat rate for that reason, because I think it's better for the client. And so, you know, if I made the mistake of misjudging how long it was going to take me, then I don't charge you anything different. Now, that being said, I put in my fee agreements if the client abuses it. We're not talking if it's, you know, within that reason, then I will revert to the hourly thing, only as a disincentive for people to spend extra time without considering how that affects me as their attorney. Okay, that's because I'm a human being too, right? I mean, yes, I'm trying to solve a problem, but at the end of the day, I'm a human being, and I have not only you as a client, but 5 others, 10 others, 20 others, whatever at the time, right? I might have 30 people that I have to work with. And so if I'm spending an inordinate amount of time relative to the amount of compensation because of something you need, then that hurts not only myself, but other clients. So that good attorney is going to be honest and upfront about their fees. A not so great attorney is not going to. They're going to hide the ball. They're going to say it's going to take less than it actually does. And not every matter is going to be perfect. I literally just transitioned from the billable hour to flat rate and everything recently, because I really felt like it was the way to go for my clients. I didn't like the billable hour. It's not fun for me. It's not fun for my clients. It's not fun to get the surprise bills that you're like, whoa, I didn't realize it was going to be that much. So I made this transition as a way to improve how my clients are getting their matters are solved. Okay. The fourth thing is you want to trust how they treat you. Trust yourself. If an attorney is giving you their undivided attention, and if they're treating you with respect, and they're treating opposing counsel with respect. Now, sometimes you may not see the opposing counsel part, but how they talk about opposing counsel will affect it. Now, I've had good and bad opposing counsels. I've had opposing counsels that will work with me. I've had opposing counsels that don't work with me, and that's frustrating, right? So you want to take everything into consideration. How do they treat their staff? How do they treat everyone? Because I guarantee you, if they treat their staff a certain way, then they're going to treat their clients that same way as well. That's just human nature. People are creatures of habit, and who they are make a big difference. So you want to trust that. If you feel like it's not a good fit, don't hire them. It's okay. There's literally plenty of attorneys out there. If you, just because you get a recommendation from somebody, doesn't mean you have to hire that person. They could be a great attorney, or they could be a not so great attorney. Are they giving you the time that you feel that you need to feel good about your matter? All of these things go into making these types of decisions before you hire them, because it's a lot easier to have a great outcome when you hire someone that you feel good with, that you feel is a good fit for you. Number 5, the most important thing that an attorney will do that's good, they will be cautiously optimistic. They will underpromise and overdeliver. The bad ones will overpromise and underdeliver. Now, you can't know when you hire them that they're going to underdeliver, but if they guarantee you an outcome, which I never do, like I put in my fee agreement specifically that I do not guarantee an outcome, because I've had cases that should have settled that don't, and then I've had cases that that shouldn't have settled that do. And so it's any attorney, they're going to say, based on my experience, or I've seen this in the past. They're going to use their experience for their benefit, but they're not going to know every move that the opposing party is going to make, or every move that the opposing counsel is going to make. So being cautiously optimistic is a crucial detail, because if they promise too much, more likely than not, they're going to fail. And when they fail, you're going to be disappointed. So I would much rather my clients have reasonable expectations. Not that, I don't file frivolous lawsuits, but I want them to have realistic expectations. And so that means that you're going to need to understand that not every case is perfect. There are facts against you and there are facts for you. And that's why is a dispute, because nothing is perfect. Okay, no case is perfect. If it was perfect, then you wouldn't even need an attorney, really. I mean, the other side would recognize it and there wouldn't be a dispute sometimes. I mean, these are all thought processes, okay? So don't think that these are absolutes. And this is why it's important that you trust your instincts on this. If you feel good about the person that you're going with, great, awesome. But be prepared for they may not be perfect, right? I mean, I've made my fair share of mistakes. I've made choices that if I had to do all over again, I would do differently. But that doesn't make me a bad attorney. But the most important thing I can tell you is not only trust your gut, but trust that if they're overly optimistic, that might not be a good fit for you. They're promising the moon and the stars and the sky, and there's no way they can deliver that because they don't know what's going to happen. So when I talk about it, I say, well, this might happen or this could happen, but maybe this will happen. And so I try to be as I look at my clients and I go, what would I want to know if I was on the receiving end of this knowledge? And so that's the way I proceed, the way I think about things in that respect. It's not perfect. Like I said, no attorney is. Sometimes you'll get a better outcome with one attorney than the other, but is it worth the crazy difference that comes with it? And sometimes, and as I've talked about in some of the emails that I sent out, the relationship can make all the difference. If you have a positive relationship, maybe, you settle for less because it's better to have that positive relationship than it is to have an adversarial relationship with your attorney, I might add, and get more, because it'll be more stressful for you and more problematic. So if you've gotten value out of this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and like. And remember, we go live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. And I look forward to talking with you soon. Have a great week.